Abrabopa is a farmer-based organization, and we're operating in almost all the cocoa growing regions in the country. So it's actually farmers who have come together to form the association. But one thing different about our type of association is that we have a very strong management system in place that actually manages, the whole association, and that's how we operate.
So how long has Cocoa Abrabopa been in existence, and what else do we need to know about Cocoa Abrabopa?
Yeah, we've been in existence for 17 years.
17? Oh, okay. That's good to hear. And it feels good to have people like you listen to us, because when I called you, you're like, oh, so that's your voice, huh? That's your voice. And then you said, we'll get to meet each other today. Enoch, you said the same thing when we met today.
Yeah.
And you said, okay, so that's the face to the voice. Is that to say that you listen to Luv FM all the time?
For me personally, that is the only radio station that I listen to.
I didn't hear you.
I'm telling you.
No, I didn't hear. I'm not saying you didn't.
So,
I didn't hear you.
Love is the radio station that I listen to.
Oh, okay. Now I heard you.
I also listen to Joy.
Okay.
And I'm going to take your feed from Joy. That's what makes me, get opportunity to also listen to Joy.
I see.
But all the time, my
that is
radio,
love, right?
Yeah.
I hope we have never disappointed you with what we do.
If you've disappointed me, there is no way I will listen to you.
Good to hear. And how about you, Enoch? Same to you? Same for you?
Same with me. Same with me.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Love. Same with me.
Yeah, in Kumasi, normally it's Rabat, in Accra, it's been Love. What do you call it? Joy.
Joy,
yeah. Your sister station.
Samo.
Yes.
That's why I sit in the middle somewhere. But I'm sure that by the time we finish our conversation today, we'll convert you to be an added listener of Luv FM. Yeah. So how did you hear about our campaign? How did it, touch you when you heard some of the stories? What went through your mind?
I think you normally do it around this time.
Roughly, yeah.
So my dad was on Live and heard the story of this young girl.
The first girl, so the HIV girl.
The HIV girl,
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I think we started this project last year.
Yeah, we did something last year in November. Yeah.
Yes, I actually wanted to come on board, but something cropped up and I couldn't. So this particular incident about the HIV girl, it's like I was touched. So this shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Just because she was in her menses and she had that challenge and unfortunate incident happened to her. So for me, I said, well, we need to come in because for us we are farmer organization, and you realize that most of these girls who normally go through, I'm sure that they may be, girls of cocoa farmers. Most of them, I'm sure.
Because some of them would be.
Yes, because we all know how cocoa farmers in this country, the poverty levels in cocoa, growing communities. So I was thinking, well, championing the welfare of cocoa farmers, and here we are talking about girls who, in one or the other, go through this ordeal. Why don't we try as much as we can to also come in to support? So that's what actually motivated. And I had a discussion with, my management, and we said, well, let's see what we can do.
And you did something. So again, we say thank you very much. But let me ask you this. When you told me about the 40 boxes, I screamed. Do you know why I asked you to bring it in yesterday instead of today? Because when we were speaking, you were like, okay, you'll bring it in this morning. Because when we spoke, I said, well, I would like to have you on the show for us to have a conversation. And then you said, oh, you'll bring it in this morning. Do you know why I asked you to bring it yesterday?
Unless you tell me.
Let me tell you. I was thinking that maybe you'd go sit somewhere with some paddies, go to sleep, and then you change your mind from the 40 boxes you mentioned to, let's say, some 20 or 15. So I was like, Charlie, let me take it early before he changes his mind.
Yeah.
And that is why I asked Charlie, if you can and you don't mind, bring it in yesterday instead of this morning. That's the only reason why I asked you to bring it in yesterday. And you put me to shame, because the time you gave me, in fact, you said we'll speak again in the afternoon, which of course you did, we spoke. And then at the time you said you were going to bring in the boxes between 3:30 and 4, exactly within that same time, you told me that the vehicle was on its way. How did you guys settle on 40 boxes?
Well, thank you very much, David. I think looking at the whole campaign, we want to make an impact. So we decided to leave that footprint in this whole campaign. So we thought, well, it's good to give 40. We could have done more.
You should do more.
Yeah, we could have done more. Even come with cash donation, but we hope in the future we'll do better than this.
When you say future, it's something that we've decided to do every year. In fact, we began last year, like we said, in November. we're doing this coming Sunday because the 28th of May is the World Menstrual Hygiene Day. That's why we moved it from November to May. So God willing, if we have life, we'll do it again in May next year. Can we count on you for next year?
Sure.
We can, eh?
Yeah.
I see, that's nice. And it feels good to hear guys. And you know, that's what I was saying, Leo, you remember Tuesday when I threw a challenge and said the women oftentimes will use their money to buy funeral cloth and all that. They grabbed the challenge and they did what they could. I mean, so the
the men have taken a step more further.
A step way further. I'm wondering how come you waited to the very last minute, because the last minute and what you did is to me the icing on the cake. Roland, tell me this. I mean, how did you guys raise the money for this? Is it from your own pocket, from Cocoa Abrabopa? I don't know how you came by this, because we're doing some rough calculation ourselves. 40 boxes. If let's say we're estimating the cost of one box at 300 Ghana cedis, it makes like 12,000 Ghana cedis. How did you come by this? It is huge, man.
So basically, at each point in time, as an association, we had wanted to, as part of our corporate social responsibility, to help in a way that also, to some extent, relates to the work we are doing. As Chairman said, you know, we are working with cocoa farmers, and they find themselves in areas like where you are going to do this donation. So why don't we come up when the need arises for us to do such or contribute in such way to help the farmers and the kids in these areas? So basically, this is where we got motivated. Then we have to put in one or two to be able to also contribute in this direction.
Listen, we have heard crazy stories. You listen to Insha, I can't begrudge you because you're assistant, so no problem. But we have heard crazy stories. From last year, for example, girls who would take old newspapers, fold them up, put it in between their legs, just to absorb blood. We've heard girls who use polythene bags or tear exercise books, fold them up and put it there. We've heard about girls who use a brodia. Corn cup. We have heard about socks, the usage of socks, crazy things. You understand? So, having heard all this, Roland, how is the feeling like, knowing that your contribution to this worthy cause is going to go a long way to bring comfort, relief, joy, and so much more to a young girl somewhere in the Manchester Central area?
It makes us feel good to be part of the contributors to this whole cause. And at the end of the day, yes, we are going to put smiles in the faces of a lot of families, a lot of girls, a lot of parents as well. So all I can say is we feel good to be part of this whole campaign to donate in this direction.
Ishmael, same for you, or your feeling is different? Do you have daughters, by the way? Yeah. You have a daughter or daughters?
I have daughters, 3.
3? You have 3 daughters?
Yeah.
So, are they of age where they menstruate?
One is of age.
One is of age?
Yeah, just this year.
Just this year?
Yeah.
And you produce a sanitary pad. Can you imagine if she tells you that she had to remove the socks on her feet to use as a sanitary pad? That would be crazy.
You see, when I heard the story, I felt like this girl, assuming, she was my daughter. But when you listen to the story, the girl said, I think she was not staying with the mom.
Okay, so that's a girl who got the HIV. She was not the one who uses the socks for menstruation, but she also has her own story, yes. So the mother was sick when she was age 12. She had to move to Techiman to go stay with an auntie. And then she started menstruating at school, age 13. She saw herself that she was laughed at by boys in the class. A teacher was kind enough to give her a cardigan to cover herself, and she went home. She told the auntie, her mother's sister, that this is what is happening to me. She was not given any education. She was not supported with any sanitary pad. She actually used tea rolls. Then she went to school again, saw herself. Another man saw her in the community. A man who has children her age says, come to my house, clean yourself or wash down. And then said, listen, I'll give you sanitary pads. Comfort, safety, protection. She agreed. Then the man says, listen, if you be my girlfriend, I'll provide sanitary pad for you every month. And then the man starts giving her the sanitary pads. Sleeps with her. She gets pregnant at the age of 13, goes for antenatal. That's what it was picked that she was HIV.
Terrible.
Very terrible.
So like you said, these girls is through no fault of theirs. This is a universal thing as part of creation, women are supposed to go through. And poverty makes it impossible for them to have that, hygienic, way of making sure within that, time of the month, you are able to put yourself in a proper way. And somebody is resorting to socks. It's so bad. And we live in a society where we claim to be, Christians, Muslims.
We will say we're religious.
So you see, this is where we need each other's help. And if you have the means, try as much as you can to also support others who are, in a vulnerable situation.
True.
So for me, I think that it's a good cause, and we must all come together to help.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
But there's another challenge, and I was discussing that with Eugene a while ago. By the way, that is Leo Stanley.
Yeah.
That's Eugene was 82.
Oh.
And I was saying that we went on trips to different communities last year. There are places you go to, look at the structure of the school itself. You enter the classroom itself, a lot of potholes and manholes in the classroom. They don't have places where they can go ease themselves. So I was thinking out loud, and I was sharing that thought with Eugene, that even if we make these parts available, sanitary parts available, and then the girl child coordinator of the school or whatever is even keeping it to give to the girls, some of them flow heavy. So if you go to school around, let's say 7:30, you have to change yourself by midday or by 2 p.m. Where will you go to change? Because you don't have a urinal or any structure where you can go and do this. So when I saw Ishmael, I was like, Ishmael, we're glad that you guys are supporting us. But can't we also find ways and means of constructing not very expensive urinal, but some kind of a structure where girls can feel comfortable and go in and change themselves when their need arises? Is it possible that... You have a microphone, or you're not speaking into the microphone?
I said it's a place where they can do stuff in dignity.
Yeah. Am I asking too much of Koko Abrabopa?
No, it's in order.
You
for
sure?
Me, it's in order. For me, I think that we're talking about, we said 28th is the World Hygiene Day,
yeah,
right?
Menstrual Hygiene Day. Yeah.
Menstrual Hygiene Day. So let's look at the comprehensive way of making sure that the hygienic nature of this whole thing is really achieved, right? So if it encompasses, how do you call it, providing toilet facilities and other things that we need to really put in place to ensure that the objective of this whole thing is achieved. Let's look at it.
Let's have a plan, kind of.
So,
for example, next time
when
we decide where we're in the partnership, like that. So next time when we decide, for example, that we're going to this area, we can then come together, construct the urinal, and then we go there, commission the urinal, and then give the sanitary pass to the girls, and then they can freely do their thing. Eugene, you want to say something?
Yeah, David. Remember yesterday I told you I was picking up the data, and I was chatting with Africa Education Director Kofi Asare, and they magnanimously gave us the data. So this is for 2021. They compared both for primary and junior. I know Ghana have the basic schools. When you say basic, that is from the primary school to the GHS, then the secondary. At the basic school, 16,294. That is 74% of schools we have do not have toilet facilities.
74%.
Toilets. 16,415%. Sorry, 16,415,000. That is 75% of basic schools in Ghana do not have water. So maybe if you've changed, you want to wash your hand, there's no water. 15,231. That is 69% of basic schools we have do not have urinals. So you either pay first school down the channel that we're trouble when I call him.
Now, yes,
then David, 13,229 do not have electricity. That one doesn't concern me. But David, for the toilet and urinal, 16,294, 74%. So it means that when you take 10 basic schools, at least 7 of them do not have toilet facilities.
How much have we sunk into the National Cathedral?
David, you see, listening to them, I think it's a good initiative. Yesterday, I was telling you, and there's a conversation, and that is the strategic partnerships we need. People who will say that, look at these numbers. They do not have water, they do not have urinal, so urinals is 69%. So when you take schools, at least almost 7 of them do not have urinal facilities. And then sometimes the facilities are there, but a corner crowd is not there.
But if you don't have water, and then you go to a urinal or a washroom of a sort, whichever way it is, how will you flush? How will you clean? How do you wash? How do you do any of these things? Yeah. Listen, how do you feel hearing, Ishmael, Enoch, and Roland saying that it's something that it can be done? And I didn't ambush them. In fact, the thought came to mind, and I discussed it with Ishmael. And I'm hoping that others who are listening to us, listen to this staggering figure you mentioned, 16,000 what?
16,000. This according to us at 2021, 16,294.
Okay, 70%. They do not have what?
Basic school, primary, they don't have toilet facilities.
They don't have toilet facilities.
So where would they do it?
You and I, we are guys, so we can stand behind a tree or a wall and do our business.
Sure.
How about a lady? When I was growing up, I used to see ladies, do their thing. You didn't have to spread their legs. It's crazy. And you have to watch. You have to consciously say to your mind, "Don't look to your left. Look straight." You understand? Look straight.
No, David.
And here are young girls who, when they hit the teen age, they have a lot of pride. They feel shy.
Yeah.
They need so many things, and we don't have toilet facilities for them. You run out for them.
So David, so it means that when a girl unfortunately have it, you can't change. You have to just wait, sit in class, in Ghana, your education system is funny. You go at 7, you close around 2:30. So you sit in class for approximately about 7 hours.
And you're soaking blood. If you're heavy, somebody who flows heavy.
And David, this figure, the reason why I recorded and I asked him was that I saw the one for SHS. And you'll be shocked. That is why I always say that, you see, when you sit in Accra and you sit in Kumasi and you think that is a picture of Ghana, you are joking until you go to the interlands. You don't. When I saw the figure, I got it yesterday, but I just couldn't believe it that almost 7 out of 10 schools we have do not have toilet facilities.
But you're talking about rural areas. Asim, yesterday I was talking about it. Asim doesn't have a toilet facility. The basic schools there, they don't have a toilet facility.
Yeah.
3 or so years ago, we had a conversation where even that structure they had was locked.
They're waiting for commissioning, or but
what's wrong with
as if you are listening to us, ask Abrabopa, you build a structure, you name it after you. If you can give us that strategic partnership, if you are into cement, you want to help us. You see, David, we cannot do everything. But there's this song I was waiting for Leo to play.
You have that song?
People Like You by James Morgan, and there's a word. Let me. I can't sing, but I can read. Let me read the first.
It's good you are admitting.
It says that if you give a little more than you can take, and if you try to fix more than you can break, that is for the men who abuse the girls for sanitary pads. And it says that if you are the kind who takes the time to help a stranger in the rain, there's a place for people like you.
Yeah, I know that song. Grams Morgan. Enjoy.